Hello, hello, hello. It is Miss Ronnie with Miss Ronnie Rides. It is Saturday, May 3rd, the end of the month. So I had to close the month out with a good video. Before we get started, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell, the notification bell, so that you will be notified when I make a video and upload it, okay? So you don't miss it, okay? And go online, order you some gourmet popcorn today at Miss Rhonda's Gourmet Popcorn, okay? That's strawberry cheesecake. So go online and check out our website and order you some good popcorn. So this is what I want to talk to y'all about. Being single and wanting to be married. You know, I am single or divorced, however you want to call it. I don't know why they say it like that. If you're not married, you're single. You know, and I, you know, even though I've been married before, and some of y'all have listened to my videos on my 3 marriages, my 3 mistakes, my 3 horror shows. I want to talk to y'all about being, you know, in this part of your life where you're single or divorced or not unmarried or whatever. It's all the same to me. And you want, and you long for love. You long for companionship. You long for company, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's so many, you know. It seems like when you're in Christ and you living for God, you really, and you're single and celibate or abstinent, whichever word you want to use, you're not out there fornicating, okay? You're not out there fornicating, and the reason why you're not out there fornicating is because you love God and you follow Christ, and you following the Word. That's what being a Christian is following the Word and following what Jesus said. You know, so you're not out there fornicating. So for true born again Christians like that, and that's the reason why you're doing it. We're not talking about the so-called born again virgins that have nothing to do with being born again. They just ain't sleeping with nobody, you know, until they find the right person. It's a difference. It's a difference between not sleeping with nobody until they find the right person that's wanting to commit, you know, versus that's about vanity. You ain't getting nothing over here. I ain't giving nothing. That's about vanity and self-pride. That has nothing to do with because you love the Lord and you want to honor God with your body. I'm talking about the ones that's born again and honoring God with their body, because the Bible tells you that give your body as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable, right? I'm talking to those people. So if you're, you know, single and you're living for Christ, it seems like that's going to be the state that you in forever, you know, because you know, when you look around your church, where are the truly single, saved, born again men? It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like, you know, they're there in the church. And I can honestly tell you, you know, there's really none in my church. I mean, there's there's a couple of older guys, and I mean old, like 70-something, you know, I was, you know, 70-something years old. That's old. I'm 57 to 3. That's old. 70-something years old is old, you know. And ain't nobody trying to sign up for that right now. And, you know, nobody's really interested in signing up for somebody that old, you know. And so, and not saying that they don't want love too and they don't need love too, you know. But when we look around, it's not encouraging at all, you know, to keep hope alive or trust in God, or, you know, believe God for a mate when you look around in church and there are none. There are none. And some people say, well, who say you got to meet him in church? Well, if he's not in church, if he's not in my church and he's not in your church and he's not in her church and he's not in her church, where you think you're supposed to meet this guy that loved God so much and ask God for a godly wife? And where you think you're supposed to meet this guy, right? Where are we supposed to meet him? If we run into him in the hardware store, but if he's not in church nowhere, that's most likely he don't really have a real relationship with the Lord. I mean, he's really not truly saved and born again, because when a man is truly saved and born again and love God, he's gonna go to church. He just really is. He's going to be a part of a church. He really is. And so where are you supposed to meet this guy? It's very discouraging, because when we were in the world, it was no issue. If I was in the world, I would have somebody. If you were in the world, living for the world, living for yourself and living like the heathen, you would have somebody, because those type of men come a dime a dozen. Now, do you know what you're getting in that? No, because half of them on the down low. Half of the men in the world, they on the down low. If they are in the world and they into rap and all this kind of stuff, those are their idols. Those are the ones that they pattern themselves after. Those are the ones that they let speak into their lives when they listen to that type of music. And guess what? The rappers are all messing with each other and on the down low, because in that world, that's what you have to do to be successful. You have to participate in rituals, homosexual rituals. So if you are in the world looking for a man, and that's who he follows and listens to, and that's who's speaking in his life, and him and his homeboys always hanging out, and chilling, and he always want to be with his homeboy, and I'm going over to my homeboy house, or we going, my homeboy to go do this and other. Him and his homeboy is likely screwing and messing around with each other, because that's the spirit that is released in the earth through that type of music, and of course through television too. So you can't find nothing in church, and then if you're in the world, you taking your chances on somebody in the world, and you don't know what you're getting in the world. So what do? You be still and know that he is God. That's what you do. You enjoy where you are. You enjoy your singleness, because I've been married 3 times, and I'm telling you, marriage is hard. It doesn't have to be hard when you're unequally yoked with somebody in marriage, and even the world can be unequally yoked. If you have a man that is, he's all about you, and having a wife, a traditional wife that stays home and doesn't work and takes care of the kids and takes care of him, and he go out and be the breadwinner, that's fine if he wants a woman that has that same mentality. But if he marry a career woman, they're gonna buck heads. Because she's a career woman just like he's a career man. So therefore they would be unequally yoked. Why do you think all celebrities don't even marry somebody in the entertainment business? Nicolas Cage's wife is not in the entertainment business. His wife, that Chinese lady or Korean, whatever she is, she was a waitress at a hotel, at a coffee shop, a restaurant or something that he met and fell in love and married her. She not in the entertainment business. Denzel Washington's wife not in the entertainment business. Terry Crews' wife not in the entertainment business. So that's why a lot of them are homemakers. They not in it, and you know, and that's what they wanted, so they're equally yoked. But even in the world, you can be unequally yoked. If she the type of woman that like to go out and party and drink and club and all that stuff, and he's a businessman, a go-getter, he's about business, straight lace and stuff, and not necessarily the homebody, but the club scene is not his scene, and that's what she into. And on Friday night, she's looking forward to going to the club, whether it be with her friends or whatever. And he's looking forward to a quiet night at home, or going out to dinner and seeing a movie. They gonna buck heads. It's gonna be some problems in that marriage because they are unequally yoked, because they live two totally different lives. So you don't have to be a Christian and marry an unbeliever to be unequally yoked. You could be Christian. Both of y'all could be Christian in the marriage and have them same problems. She may like to continue to drink here and there, and he may be straight laced and not want to drink nothing at all. Or she may not want to drink nothing at all, and he might like to have rum and coke every now and then. And if she don't accept that's who he is, and yet he loves the Lord, and she want him straight laced like she is, it's gonna be a problem in that Christian marriage. It's gonna be a problem. See, so if you know, right now you know, marriage has pros and cons, just like being single has pros and cons. Marriage is not the prize. The type of marriage you have is the prize, and that is a prize that both of y'all have to be on the same accord going after, to have the kind of marriage that y'all want, that y'all could agree on, that y'all both can enjoy, and you get life out of that, of the marriage, and the pursuit of what kind of marriage you want, what kind of relationship you want. That's what the prize is. Marriage is not the prize. Marriage is what you make it. That is the thing that you make it. That's the prize. And let me tell you something. Some prizes stink. You ever ran a race, and at the end of the race, you did all this work, and you get a fake trophy, not a real trophy, but a plastic trophy, or you know, like I watched an episode of Golden Girls. Y'all know I'm a fan of the Golden Girls, and Rose was in. I think she won Woman of the Year or something, and you know, she had to qualify and have to have done all of this stuff. And in the end, her prize was a chocolate, pure milk chocolate trophy. It wasn't even a real trophy. It was a chocolate shaped trophy. So some prizes, you know, the type of marriage you have is the prize. But marriage is what you make it. And some prizes are just junk. It's just crap. Because that's what y'all made it. Because you didn't. If you have to have somebody that want to work, that will work just as hard as you in having the kind of marriage that y'all want to have. You have to have somebody that is willing to compromise. You can't get your way in marriage. It can't all be your way or all be his way. It can't be like that. You have to compromise for the greater good of the marriage. Sometimes men, you have to give up your way. Sometimes ladies, you have to give up your way. And marriage is hard. I'm telling you, I done did it 3 times. I'm telling you, marriage is hard. You know, and a lot of the problems in marriage are because in the dating phase, instead of talking and keeping your feelings and emotions in check, instead of talking and getting to know this person, not what's your favorite color, what's your favorite food, all of that stuff is superficial. The real things that cause problems in marriage, people don't want to talk about in the dating phase because they don't want to disrupt the fantasy. They don't want to disrupt the fantasy. They want to keep the fantasy going. that everything is great, everything is lovely. Oh, we like two peas in the pod. We get along so good, and this girl is like, he's just so romantic, and he's just so thoughtful, and so that's only because you have a surface level relationship. Y'all have surface level communication, which is superficial. You have to get down to the meat in dating and talk about issues and see if y'all agree or disagree on foundational issues that cause divorce in marriage. You have to talk about these things. If you do not talk about these things because you're too busy making goo-goo eyes at each other, and you don't want to rock the boat because everything is going so good, and you just want to be peace, and I just want to be his peace. Let me tell you something. You don't come to pieces in that marriage when real issues of life and trouble in the flesh, like Paul said, will show up if you get married, because you did not talk about these things in your dating. Dating is more than just about having fun and going to the movies, and we went on a picnic, and he bought me this for Valentine's Day. Listen, dating is more than going on trips and taking vacations together, and so dating is more. Dating is where you get to know who you are planning your life with. Why? Because it affects your life. It affects your life and your inner circle of life, your children, your grandchildren, your family. You getting married affects all of that. Because what if he's not a family guy and you are a family guy, and you never knew that because y'all never talked about that, because you just automatically assumed that he was a family guy because he took you to his mother's house for Thanksgiving to meet them or whatever. But you don't know that he ain't been to his mother's house for Thanksgiving in the last 3-4 years. Why? Because he ain't really into all of that. And you don't find this out until after you get married, and that time you have your first Thanksgiving, and you want to have family over, and he look at you like you crazy. Like, I don't want all them people over here at my house. I don't want to do that. I don't want to host that. Why we got to do that? And you've been hosting family Thanksgiving at your house for the last 3-4 years being single. Now it's a problem because y'all didn't talk about this stuff before you got married. Really go into depth. How do you spend your holidays? Do you spend your holidays with your family? Is that something important to you? How do you feel about us hosting family, family holidays? How do you feel about, Christmas? Do you celebrate Christmas? Do you buy gifts? Oh, you don't buy gifts. Oh, okay. Y'all pull white elephants in your family. But me and my family don't do that. We all buy gifts. He may not want to do that because that's a lot of money. And he may be very frugal in his budget. And that's why he got a lot of money saved in the bank, because he's very frugal. Y'all got to talk about that. You have to talk about these things. If you do not talk about the real things that cause rips and tears in your marriage, and begin and break up foundations of marriage and bring you out of the ooey gooey stage of marriage and relationship, you're gonna have a problem in your marriage. How do you solve problems? What's your communication style? Do you bottle it up and keep it to yourself and try to deal with yourself, or are you the type of person that you like to talk about things that bother you? Are you honest when you talk about things, or do you just, tell me where, I'm fine, but you're really not fine, and you walk around mad slamming doors for days? You need to talk about this stuff, because if you plan family dinner at y'all house for Thanksgiving and you didn't talk about it with him because you automatically assume that was okay because it's family and it's Thanksgiving and that's how he grew up, and you inform him that y'all are hosting family dinner for Thanksgiving, and he said, "Oh, okay, baby, cool." But then he walking around for the next 2-3 days, slamming doors and ain't talking to you and in a bad mood, and you have no clue what's wrong with him, or vice versa. She has no clue what's wrong with you. And then she didn't spend $300 on food and all this kind of stuff. And then he finally comes clean, and you asking her, what's wrong? I don't really want to do this. I don't really want to. Well, why not? Because that's just not me. Well, how come you didn't tell me? Well, it was so important to you. See, that's the problem. Yeah, honey, but it's important to me too. I wish you would have told me. That way I wouldn't spend $300 on food. I'm used to doing this. You should have told me. It's going to be a problem. I'm telling you. It's stuff like this that people do not talk about in marriage. Before marriage. Not in marriage. Before marriage. That causes problems in marriage. And all of this stuff could have been avoided. This is why you date. You're not dating. You're not going out on dates if you're looking for a mate. You're not supposed to be going out on dates to just have fun. You're supposed to be dating the person and getting information so you will know if y'all are a good match and you should continue to see this person, or if you're not. How do I know? Because I did it twice in marriage. I won't even count my first marriage because I was young and I wasn't in Christ. But in Christ, I married twice in Christ, people that God told me not to marry, and I did it anyway. Unequally yoked. And you want to know what happened to those marriages? Go and listen to them. So how do I know this? Because I've been through it. I know what I'm talking about. You want to marry, you supposed to be dating and asking all of these things, and not only once, but go over it different times throughout the dating process. Go over it again, bring it up to them again, because a lot of times they'll say stuff because they want to be in agreement with you, but that's not how they really feel. They're trying to win you over, but on the inside, the thing that they don't like, that you like, they already doing what you doing, which is thinking that you gonna change them when you get married. She ain't gonna be doing all that when we get married. She ain't gonna be doing all that. He ain't gonna be staying out all like that on Friday night with his friends when we get married. The very thing that you have an issue with now and you're agreeing with, in dating, because you don't wanna spoil the romantic fantasy that you've created in your mind. It's going to be the same thing that's going to turn around and bite you in your behind when you get married. Why? Because you lied in the dating process. You didn't tell the truth. You wasn't honest because you didn't want to rock the boat, because things were going so good, and you're so tired of looking, and you're so tired of being alone. You just want everything to go right, so you're going along with everything that this person say, knowing full doggone well it ain't okay for him to be out on Friday night with his homeboys, that he should be taking you out and spending time with you on Friday night. Do not do that to yourself, because you're going to have a problem when reality strikes. You're going to have a problem, because it's going to be, oh, you didn't tell me this when we were dating. Well, I didn't want to make you upset. Well, I thought you was going to stop seeing me if I told you that I didn't really agree with that. I thought you were going to end it. I didn't want it to end it. You should end it. That's why you should have said something. Because it's easier to walk away from a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship than it is a marriage. Okay? So don't be afraid to end it. Y'all hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell and give me a thumbs up, because y'all know I'm telling the truth. And if you know somebody single, send this, or engaged, or dating, send this video to them, because they need to hear this, because this is true. Because we, especially women, we are the worst when it comes to, getting caught up in our feelings and emotions and stuff, and the fantasy of, oh, we're going to tiptoe to the tulips, oh, it's going to be so wonderful, we're going to have 2.5 kids and the white picket fence, and how he want a house? He may want to stay in an apartment. And right now, you're like, sure, I'm moving in with him, my lease up, and we can get married, we stay in this apartment. But your idea is you want a house eventually. He may never want a house. Why? It's a lot of responsibility. And y'all never talked about that. And you never got down, or he said yes, and you never questioned it. Okay, he said yes, okay, good. You never circled back around on the third date and said, are you sure you really want a house? It's a lot of responsibility. You have to go into details with people because you don't want somebody saying yes because they don't want to mess up the fantasy, and you stop saying yes because you're scared to mess up the fantasy. If they bring up something and you don't like that or you disagree with that, then you need to be honest. And we're not talking about superficial stuff. We're talking about stuff that tear up marriages. How do you feel about loaning family money or helping family? He may be the type of person, I ain't helping them niggas. Them niggas, I'm grown just like they grown. They got to get out there and make it for themselves just like I got to get out there and make it for themselves. You may not be like that. You may be the sibling that make the most money in your family, and people always come to you for help, and you have no problem giving to them because you have it, and that's and you don't mind helping your family out. How many in the room know that that's gonna be a problem in y'all marriage? That's gonna be a problem, because then you're gonna feel like you have to sneak behind his back to help your family. That's gonna cause a problem. Now you done bought dishonesty in the marriage. Now you taking money out the family household and giving it to your family behind your husband back or behind your wife back. That's gonna be a problem. You have to talk. You got to talk. I'm telling y'all the stuff that tear up marriages that you're afraid to talk about when you're dating, to make sure y'all are on the same page. Now, do y'all have to agree on everything? No. He might like hardwood floors. You might like carpet. You can compromise on that stuff. That's the kind of stuff that's not going to make or break a marriage. Because one day he going to realize how filthy that carpet is, or you going to feel like you going to realize how filthy that carpet is, and go back to him and say, honey, you know what? We should have got hardwood floors. Let's pull this carpet. I'm tired of this carpet. Carpet holders, I'm tired of it. You see, or vice versa. He may go, honey, I'm tired of these wood floors. I'm tired of having these floors redone. Let's put some carpet over these floors. So that's the kind of stuff that you can compromise on that stuff. But I'm telling y'all about stuff that tear up marriages, that have y'all not speaking for days, that you don't want to talk about because you don't want to mess up the fantasy when you're dating. Everything is going so good. I don't want to talk about hard stuff because I don't want us to argue. Listen, you better argue now because you need to know how he argued. You need to know if he argued, does he yell? Does he get loud? Does he holler at the top of his voice? Does he walk around huffing and puffing? Does he slam doors? Does he hand his hand on the table like that? Does he put his fist through walls? You need to know this stuff. You need to know this stuff. Is she the type of woman that will throw a drink in your face if y'all get mad? Is she the type of woman that will slap you across your face if you say something crazy to her, disrespectful to her? You need to know these things. You need to know this. And when you're dating, when you get angry, how do you display your anger? When you're upset about something, how do you display you're upset? How do you let me know that you're upset? If you don't like something, do you tell me you don't like it before the fact? Do you walk around mad and slamming doors and I got to come to you and dig out and figure out what's wrong with you? You need to know these things. You have to talk about these things. Why? Because these things destroy marriages. I'm telling you what I know. Back to the money thing. You may be a person, he may be a person that helps his family generously and don't have no problem with it because he made good money. You may came from a household that, a penny saved is a penny earned. And you don't like to give nothing and spend nothing because you grew up in poverty and you're so afraid that you're going to end up in poverty again. You don't spend nothing, you don't give nothing, you save everything, and that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem for y'all, because if he want to pay his mama house note for Mother's Day that month, it's going to be a problem for you. It's going to be a problem for you. And that's another thing, in-laws. Oh, Lord, in-laws. Can people come stay with you? How you feel about family having to move in if they fall on hard times? He may say they gonna have to figure out a way. They need to go to get a hotel room or something. They can't come stay with me. When you used to somebody coming to stay with you before you got married, family used to be able to call you, can I come stay with you about 6 months, save us some money to buy me a cash car, save up some money to pay some debt out? Sure. That's going to be a problem for y'all, because you used to saying yes and letting your family come, and he is the type of man that he don't want nobody staying in his house. That's going to be a problem. Y'all have to talk about these things. You have to let go of the fantasy of what you think marriage is. And a lot of y'all gonna be in the comments somebody, well, it just depends on what type of person you marry. You don't know the type of person you marry because you too busy Googling and he and hi and he bought me flowers and all this stuff during the dating period. You never took time to really find out what type of person he is, or what his thoughts or views is on none of the subjects that I brought up in this video. And you're gonna be the very one that remembered this video and said, you know what, Miss Rodney was right. We didn't talk about none of this stuff. We were so in love and having fun, we just figured it would all work out. Listen to me. The Bible says, Paul says, if you get married, you will have trouble in the flesh. What do you think the trouble is? This is the trouble that he's trying to spare you from. But if you get married, you have not sinned. That's what the Bible says. But if you get married, you will have trouble in the flesh. I'm trying to help you to recognize some of the trouble in the flesh that you're going to have in marriage. You're going to have it. I'm trying to help you recognize some of the trouble in the flesh so you can talk about these things in your vetting process. Not 2, 3, 4 months into dating and you got a soul tie now. You all emotionally involved now. So you don't want to mess up the fantasy. So you don't want to talk about none of those things, because those things are hard, and we'll work those things out when you get married. It's harder to work it out when you're married. You're going to be arguing, I'm telling you. And the fantasy going to get thrown out the door anyway. Talk about these things on your second, maybe third day. You need to talk about each thing that I shared, and I may make a second video. Each thing that I shared, you need to talk about some of this in every date. The first 3 dates, you need to talk about it. You need to ask. Don't try to convince him to see anything your way. He's telling you how he views it and his take on it. Write it down mentally, paper, whatever, and take notes. Do not try to make him convince him to see it your way. Because you're going to have trouble in the flesh in the marriage, I'm telling you. So listen. We could talk about this for a long time, because it's a lot. So to stop, enjoy your singleness. Enjoy being single. Enjoy having your own time. Okay? Enjoy doing what you want to do. Coming and going as you please. Coming and going as you please. Being in control of your own time. Listen, my grandson tried to come back and stay with me about a month or so ago. And he stayed with me a while back when I was working at Samson Farm, and I was cooking and laundering and getting up and making breakfast and watch, because we had to go to work and all that kind of stuff and making lunches and stuff. And I felt like I had a man in the house that wasn't my man, but I was doing all of this, and I was like, oh Lord, I don't want to deal with this. So the second time when he came back to try to come save me, I was like, grandbaby, I love you, but I don't want nobody staying with me. Why? Because I didn't want to go back to dealing with that. I don't want to have to be. If I don't want to cook, I can stop somewhere and get me something to eat. If I don't feel like cleaning up nothing, I don't clean up. I'll clean up another day. If I don't feel like going home and I was going to stay out here at my son's house with my grandbaby, spend a couple days out there, I can do that. You understand? I come home when I want to. I do what I want to. You cannot do that in marriage. So I'm enjoying when I finish working, I'll go somewhere and sit down and have me something to eat and have a margarita if I want to. For real. And I go home when I want to. You cannot do that when you are married. Enjoy being single. I ain't got to worry about trying to look good for nobody. If I want to look good, I look good. If I don't, I don't. If I want to get up and comb my hair, I'll get up and comb my hair. If I don't want to get up and comb my hair, I ain't getting up and comb my hair. I don't have to worry. I don't have all that pressure of trying to always look good for somebody. Okay? You better enjoy your singleness while you can, because marriage has its own blessings or pros, but it also has its own cons. Just like singlehood though. But in singlehood, you don't have to answer to nobody. In marriage, you got to answer to somebody. That's a big con to me. I mean, that's a big pro to me. That's a big pro to me. If I want to help my daughter or help my son or whatever, give them somebody, I can. I ain't got to ask nobody. If I want to have my grandchildren at my house for a week or whatever, I ain't got to ask nobody. I ain't got to worry about them getting on somebody else's nerves and y'all making too much noise in the house and all that. I don't have to worry about that. I can have them over. My third marriage, he didn't even like kids. My daughter-in-law is his uncle. So my grandkids was related to him too. He didn't like kids. So I could rarely see my grandkids. I rarely saw my grandbabies when I was married to him. Now I can see him anytime I want to, as much as I want to. So see, you understand what I'm saying, y'all? I'm trying to tell y'all something. I'm trying to tell you something I know. So y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the subscribe channel. Give me a thumbs up and share this video with your single friends, for real. Share this video with your single friends. Say y'all need to listen to this. Share it with your single friends, okay? Thank you so much. Go to MissRhondaspopcorn.com and order you some good old popcorn. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. God bless you.